Welcome to 79%, the podcast where we make space for physician associate voices that are often shut down. This is a place for honest words, lived experience, and permission to speak. The views shared here are personal experiences and reflections on wider systems.
This podcast is not intended to single out or attack individuals, but to explore patterns, culture, and accountability. We're your hosts, Emma and Amanda. And just in case anyone is confused, we are physician associates, not podcasters. And if you want to find out why that's a fucking stupid thing to have to say, then keep listening. This episode continues our deep dive on the cost. When we started 79%, one of the things we really hoped for was that the podcast would become a space for PA voices from across the profession, not just people within our immediate circles, and not just one perspective, not just one stage of training, but the full breadth of lived experience. So we couldn't be more pleased to welcome Ambrose to the podcast. Ambrose brings a perspective that we think is incredibly important. What it has felt like to complete PA training and step into the profession at a time when the role has been at the centre of extraordinary controversy and so-called debate. He has seen firsthand how the last 2 years have affected students, educators, colleagues and the wider PA community. We connected with Ambrose through LinkedIn rather than through our immediate network, which makes this conversation especially valuable to us. There are no assumptions and no agenda beyond listening properly to his experience. Ambrose, thank you so much for being here, and we're really looking forward to getting into the conversation.
Oh, well, thank you for getting me on. I'm super excited to chat with you guys. I'm a listener to the podcast. I think what you guys are doing at the moment is really important. So yeah, no, thank you.
Not at all,
thank
Ambrose,
you so much.
Yeah, delighted to have you. Thank you. So before we get into your experiences as a PA student during what has been an incredibly turbulent time for the profession, let's start with you. Tell us a bit about yourself. What's your background? What was it that drew you to the physician associate profession in the first place?
Yeah, so I qualified as a PA 8 months ago, so end of last year. But before that, I did biomedical science. Really common for PAs to have done biomed beforehand. So, and in between then, I worked as a scientist in a large immunodiagnostics facility. But kind of quickly decided that sitting at a computer all day wasn't really for me. I always kind of knew that it was going to be clinical. I've got sort of family members that are medics and nurses, so kind of come from an NHS kind of centric family, and was kind of looking for a role that really spoke to me, looking for one that kind of lent into my skills and what I wanted to do. And the PA course was like ideal for me. It was exciting. It was, I say new, but it was about to happen. It was about to have a sort of opportunity boom, and that was something that really attracted me. It was fresh, and I genuinely believed in what it was kind of trying to achieve. I thought maybe this is, the revolutionization of the NHS workforce, which sounds like a bit, eccentric almost to say, but that's kind of what I thought it was going to be.
I totally get where you're coming from there. You've got the skills, you can very clearly talk to people, you're personable, you've got something to offer the NHS, and the NHS is then open-minded enough to say, come on in, see our patients, interact with people.
Totally.
I get
yeah. I mean, yeah, I think, we're in an NHS now where we're constantly trying to revolutionise how we deliver healthcare. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we all know that the NHS isn't getting much better.
Yeah.
And stuff needs to change. And I think staffing needs to change. We need to bring in people that want to be part of the workforce. We want people to, we want skilled people to come in. And I think that when I was first looking at the role, I was like, this is it. This is how we're going to do this.
I felt exactly the same.
We were all on the same page there. So when was the first time that you realised that attitudes towards physician associates were changing?
It's an interesting one. I mean, during my biomedical science degree, I was looking at what, like I said, I was looking at what I was going to do. And part of our modules, they wanted us to create like an online professional presence. So I looked on LinkedIn, and when I heard about the PA thing, I was connecting with loads of physician associates. And the other account that they wanted us to make was a Twitter account. And so, as I said, yeah, I came a bit obsessed with the idea of becoming a PA. I really loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And so I was taking in media, looking at, days in the life on YouTube and TikTok, and was following, big medical organizations on Twitter, some including the BMA,
Yeah.
RCGP, a lot of other societies as well. And so it was a kind of a place to just see what was going on with PAs at the moment, and what they were getting involved with. And it was fairly early on to my studentship that I detected anonymous accounts on Twitter that were saying unsavory things. And maybe even before I'd started, there were a couple of, and they were nothing more than kind of throwaway comments about things like intelligence and like, what's the point of this workforce sort of situation. They were nothing like, I couldn't take them seriously, even from like my junior point of view. They were kind of easy to ignore.
Yeah.
I actually remember on my first day as a student PA talking to a guy I was getting to know, who ended up being a very good friend, but saying like, have you kind of seen what's going on online? Like, there's a couple of accounts that are not too happy about PAs. That was kind of when I first really was like, people don't really know what's going on here. This is a couple of things that are.
So the guy you were speaking to had said no.
Yeah, no. I mean, I to be honest, I don't think even at that point lecturers were aware of unsavory voices. It was. I did feel quite, on my own. Like, has anyone seen this? This is kind of a bit.
Yeah, Ambrose, I can relate to that, because you seem like the panicked one. Yeah. And Ambrose, so sorry, you qualified 8 months ago. This is now June 2026. So what was the first year of your studentship?
2023, is that right? Yeah. I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so from memory, this is where it's just really starting to kick off and ramp up, isn't it?
That's about right. Yeah. I mean, I remember when it started really becoming when I started going, right, okay, we need to start paying attention to what's going on here, is when they were no longer anonymous accounts. These were accounts that were professional accounts, really. I mean, I suppose they were giving opinion, but they had their name attached to them.
Sure, emboldened enough to say it with
exactly.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
And at that point, it was like, okay, I think we all need to really be aware of what's actually going on here.
So how then did that affect you as a student? Because I admire the students that continued, and I personally don't know if I'd have had the resilience to continue. Because even as a fully fledged PA with a couple of years experience behind me, I mean, I think this has hit me quite hard personally. I think it's hit a fair few of us quite hard. I really don't know if I would have continued if I was a student. So what was it that compelled you to keep going?
Yeah, really good question. I mean, I suppose I am an optimist, and I think over the last 2 years have been like, well, things can't get much worse, so let's just carry on. But I think also, I mean, well, I'm also surprised we didn't have that many dropouts, to be honest. I think might have had only one student, two students drop out.
Yeah.
But I think.
And was that because of this, Ambrose? Or was that just for other reasons?
One definitely was. One identified that the job market at this point was certainly depleting, and this person was clearly, obviously, I mean, like we all were training to become physician associates as a job. I think it's to be said about all physician associate students, actually. They want to be physician associates. They want to stick to it. And I think I don't think it takes a massive amount of thinking to realize that these people are super passionate and it could really work. And I think I think the people in my cohort were so committed, and I'm super proud of the people in my cohort. They were just so good. Yeah, I don't know. Actually don't know the answer to that. I think you've got to be a pretty got a strong head to work in the NHS anyway.
Fair. Yeah.
And I think us as students, we like I said, we all wanted to be PAs.
Yeah.
That's kind of the long and short of it, really.
That's fair. You've committed to it, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously the financial backdrop as well. Once you've kind of done 1 year, you're like, well, I might as well carry on.
Yeah.
But more to it is I think we all believed in it.
Absolutely. So you've got all that stuff online, and you're kind of working out how serious it's becoming whilst doing all of your study and trying to pass the exams. How does it then feel going on to placement?
Mixed bag, I'd say. It depends where you're going, but generally it was high anxiety. You just have no idea. I mean, people say that this conversation online wasn't toxic, and it's just rubbish. I mean, we were going onto placement not knowing whether the consultants or the resident doctors that we wanted to shadow were internet trolls that were anti-PA or whatever. You just don't know how you're going to be received, and several of us had like bad experiences with how we were received. I mean, I can recall one of my colleagues on their obs and gynae placement was getting on really well for the first 3 days, and then was just outright dismissed from obs and gynae. So we don't want PAs here. You're gonna have to go home.
Oh, that's
really
terrible.
Yeah, just straight up PAs.
That was it. And not only that, it was the attitude at which it was done. It was like I knew you yesterday, I don't know you today. Like
wow.
It was very, very black and white. And we all have similar experiences. I mean, this is why I kind of think it's important for PA students to kind of know what's going on out there, because the conversations are going to be brought up at some point when you're on placement, and you need to be kind of prepared for what they might say, because they really could say something quite unsavory. They might bring up genuine points. We all know that there are definitely genuine points and concerns in the debate, but it's being able to know how to handle that. And my kind of tack was to kind of bring it to them and say, how do you feel about me being a PA, and what do you think about the whole PA debate? And that certainly made the relationship between me as a student and the person who was the educator, made our relationship less awkward by addressing that.
Because you fronted it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Ambrose, did you have any terrible experiences? And also, what was the general reaction when you said, I am a physician associate student, I'm here to learn?
Yeah, so so you first asked, did I have any
bad experiences? Yeah.
Really, I can't say that I had any awful experiences that made me question, is this what I want to do? If anything, if there was a bit of sourness or whatever, it empowered me that I know that I am capable. And I think that's kind of important when we say about all the pressures of people being on placement, is that and I said I'm proud of the cohort I was in. We were good because we knew we had the eyes on us. We were there for the entire time. We were turning up to placement and giving it everything that we had.
Absolutely.
I did come into my GP placement with the BMA scope of practice document on the desk, sort of ready for me. Yeah.
Gosh.
And that was like, oh wow, it was very much like, oh yeah, social media is really actually having an influence here.
Yeah.
And so it was certainly a conversation about like what can we actually allow you to do? We don't now we're now concerned about us as a practice, letting you examine and see patients. And it was quashed pretty quickly. I mean, I have to say I stood my own ground as well, but not many PAs would be able to do that as well. Not, we don't. That could really quite break some of us.
Yeah.
I opened up conversations on placement, and there were definitely questions about, I mean, I suppose the first, I mean, actually, I did have a bit of banter with a couple of surgeons who said, "Oh, you've come here to steal our jobs," and it was said in jest, and I could take that. That's fine.
Yeah, sure.
But there were certainly SHOs that were like, "Well, I wouldn't let you treat a family member. Like, I just don't think I could let you treat a family member." I'm like, okay, and I take it on and just
I suppose
think about that.
It's your opinion.
And I'm still in a symbiotic relationship with you in a way, because I want to learn from you, but I also I don't want you to think that I'm incompetent at anything. Yeah, definitely a mixed bag for everyone. Everyone had some. I mean, there was a number of PAs that had to be replaced on different placements because of hostility. So yeah,
it's hard, isn't it? It's really hard when you've got, like, again, placement is hard enough, isn't it? You've got a subject matter to learn, and that's why you're there. To have that overlay is just really difficult.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, I think being a medical student on placement is hard. I think being a nursing student on placement is hard. Being a physician associate student is hard. Being a physician associate student on placement with the backdrop of uncertainty that we had is just the pressure you feel every time you ask, "Oh, can I? My name's Ambrose. I'm a student physician associate. Can I shadow you today?" And you just have no idea how that will be received on the other end.
Absolutely.
It was hard. Yeah, don't get me wrong. It was hard.
Full admiration for everyone that got through it. Yeah.
I think it was important. I mean, I had a good support system as well, and this is why I'm such a big fan of the podcast. I think it stands for everything that I think student PAs, particularly at the moment, need to be listening to. It makes you feel like there's someone who knows exactly what's going on.
Good. I'm pleased it's reaching those people, because that was the point of it, wasn't it? Okay, so you were talking about support there, and how did the university respond?
It's a tricky one. So most of the educators were PAs themselves, and their kind of advice, particularly with the online stuff, was just ignore it. And I'm not entirely convinced that. I mean, again, they have their own coping mechanisms. It was affecting them just as much as it was affecting us.
Sure.
I'm not entirely sure it was the most sensible tack, to be honest. I mean, I think I certainly didn't want to feel that I wasn't educated about what was going on in the wider sphere when I was going on to placement, because, like I said, these conversations were coming up all the time. Similarly, for my colleagues, I didn't want them to just bury their heads in the sand and then be asked by a consultant, "Well, what do you bring that I can't get from a F1?" Well, there's a long answer to that, and it takes a little bit of thinking about, to be honest, about how do you answer that question. So if you've buried your head in the sand and don't know that these are the questions being asked, thinking about it for the first time in front of a consultant might be pretty daunting, to be honest.
Absolutely, it would be, wouldn't it? Because it's the confrontation about why should you exist, essentially, is what they're saying.
That's what the question gets to the crux at, isn't it? That's what they're trying. It's a catching out. I don't like the way that question is framed, because it comes onto the conversation as well about, did we study medicine? Well, yes. I can't get away from the fact that I used the same textbooks as a medical student.
Ambrose, what did we study if it's not medicine?
Exactly.
What is it? And are those bits that we did study just not in medicine?
Yeah.
If we didn't study medicine. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. And so to think, like, that question about, oh, well, a doctor could do the same. Well, yeah, but that's not the point of a PA. A PA widens access. have the potential to revolutionize how we deliver healthcare here. And it's being reduced as like, well, we've already got doctors, so
yeah, why do we need to? Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's the whole continuity argument. There's the fact that we are mature students, right? It's a master's. You're not
totally.
coming in. Very few people, I think, just go school, uni, PA. I think that there are people with jobs, there's life experience. There's so much that a PA brings. But you're right. If you haven't thought about those questions, and you're immediately confronted by a consultant who is essentially saying, why do you exist? Then it is going to be daunting, and it's going to be very difficult to come back in that moment.
Yeah. So I mean, your original question was how did the university
respond? Yeah.
Right, help us? And so I think in that respect, so the PA educators, they gave their best. As the university on a whole, very, very poor. I mean, in fact, I think they probably were working against the grain here, because I mean, I can only talk from my experience at university, and I suppose I can't say that I know exactly what was going on, because we were sort of kept in the dark, because it was, a student and educator relationship, but it was kind of the consensus that the university was trying to reduce contact hours, was trying to, I mean, we weren't included in simulations. So there was meant to be an opportunity where we were to work with the paramedics and the nursing students, and we would be the physician associates in a simulation. We weren't included in that. So I'd say that the support from university was virtually absent. But I can only speak from my experience at my university. I don't know about other universities, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a similar story.
Yeah, that is poor, Ambrose. I think so. I'm annoyed as well. I'm not a student, but I can relate somewhat. I'm annoyed that UEA and probably all the other universities that do PA studies, but I went to UEA. I'm annoyed they have not stood by their product. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We are the product, right? That degree, us achieving that degree is their product. Why have they not turned around in some way and gone, hang on a minute, we've trained these people. Like UEA is linked to a medical school.
Yeah.
Why am I suddenly not good enough? Do you know what I mean?
Totally. I think the support that we got was so poor, I'd never even considered that that's what our university should have done. And you're absolutely right. Like, surely you should be advocating for the professionals that you're creating.
Absolutely. And there's been absolute silence.
Yeah.
The tagline of UEA is do different.
Wow, yeah.
Stand up for yourself, do something, say something. Don't just go with the crowd. And they've done nothing but go with the crowd, because they've done absolutely nothing to support PAs.
Yeah.
They should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, I think so. We should write some letters.
We're writing letters to the world.
Yeah, we are.
Aren't we?
At the moment,
Everybody needs a letter.
But you're right. No, sorry, back on that point before I trash UEA more. So do you feel students were given an accurate picture of the challenges the profession would face?
Yeah, I mean, not really. I mean, I suppose the challenge with my cohort is that the challenges were sort of cropping up as we went along. I mean, I kind of described myself as the bearer of bad news, because I almost took it on my responsibility to start telling my sort of peers that what was going on. I think the PA educators did their best at trying to support us, but maybe probably should have given us a bit of more guidance on what placement might actually be like. But in their defense, no one really knew. It was a complete roller coaster of what was actually going on. I mean, when the BMA started getting involved, when the Royal Colleges started getting involved, no one really could have predicted how it went. So I kind of think that going into it blind, they probably did okay. It's interesting as well how universities have marketed physician associates and how we are 2 years on. And I don't think the marketing has changed much. If you go on to any, PA course prospectus, you can see that they're advertising the same role, which is great, because I think it is the role that I personally believe in and think is right. But it's not the reality. I mean, right now, they're not going to get students if they start saying, well, you'll get a degree that will cost a lot of money. It'll take you 2 years. It'll break you as a person.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to get a job. And if you do get a job, then it'll be pretty tenuous. You might then be laid off. And
absolutely. and you're going to have to justify who you are and how you're trained, and no one's going to understand how you're trained, and they're going to think you're an expensive HCA.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
a harder sell.
Yeah.
That's a harder sell than what they've already printed. Yeah. So Ambrose, you've told us a little bit about your experiences. Did you yourself have a good support system? And what would you say to people who know a physician associate or a physician associate student and are trying to support them through this time?
Yeah. I mean, I had a very, very good support system. I have, like I said, members of my family are sort of part of the NHS. They were acutely aware of like the conversations that were going on about PAs, and they really, really understood. Sort of, the only thing I'd say is that, well, first thing I'd say to PA students and PAs and everyone really, if you are feeling like it's getting too much, then you need to talk to someone. The stuff that we deal with as PAs is basically unheard of. This what's gone on is a scandal, and you are, I would say, victims of a scandal. It's okay to feel horrible about that. Go and talk to someone. Or the one response I'd say when I open up to friends or family, particularly friends, they would say, well, why don't you get another job? And hearing that, I mean, we've got a bit of a trauma bond with the PA profession anyway, but to me, that just says, I don't understand. I am a PA to my core. Asking me to do a different profession is asking me to be someone I'm not. I am a PA from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. And I don't want to hear, go and do something else. I am a PA.
And Ambrose, why should you go and get another job?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that I think is a lesson I would like people that are in the vicinity of PAs to know, is that that's how deep this runs. It's not just a master's degree. It just isn't. I am not the same person I was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
It's an identity, right?
That's right. It's part of my identity, and I think the advice that I then give to PAs as well is that only other PAs will truly, truly understand what you are going through. And that's why podcasts like this, getting involved with other organizations that are physician associate centric, so CMAPs, UMAPs, whatever you want to do, getting involved, creating a community around physician associates is so important. You will feel heard, you'll feel seen. I think it's the best thing you could do.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree. Yeah.
I really hope that anyone that is listening, if they're feeling like, I'm really struggling and it's because of this situation about employment or the situation that's going on online. I mean, GPs on the whole, they will help you. Like, you can talk to someone, you can talk to a physician associate, so long as they're employed into a GP surgery, but go and speak to someone if that's the level of care that you think you need. They shouldn't have any agenda at that point when you are a patient.
Yeah.
I think it's a good place to point out that we also put links on our socials and when we post episodes to places where people can go and get help and support. And I think if anyone is a member of UMAPS as well, there's some wellbeing support that you can access through the website for members. So it's worth people looking at that if they feel like they need to.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Amber, is that something you saw a lot in your cohort then? Is that where that's coming from, that people actually really struggled through that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think I'm not standing alone here when I say that, my cohort of students, my peers, had the same transformation. They became PAs. So when these attacks are happening, it's personal. It just is. It's going to feel personal, and that is going to wear you down. Certainly, morale was incredibly low. I mean, it was so. I mean, I'm surprised that anyone got through the course. People just didn't want to study. People didn't want to. They did. Obviously, they did really well, and they're brilliant. They'll make very, very good physician associates. But the morale behind it to actually load up your laptop and start doing Plabable, like, it's just really, really tricky.
So, Ambrose, we've already mentioned the universities didn't step in. Of course, the Royal College of Physicians completely abandoned us. They were taken over by the extremists. And then that, of course, made PAs fairly homeless. But who should have stepped up, in your opinion, if anyone? Difficult question.
I think it's interesting. I on placement have met a lot of, obviously met a lot of doctors and a lot of advocates. And I actively tell them, please just talk. Please say something. If you think that we're good, say something. Because I think I don't want to put the onus on them, because they're just your average GP, acute physician, gastroenterologist, whatever, and they don't want to get tied into a kind of political debate. But I wish we had some doctor advocates, because they do exist. Yeah, I mean, I also think that the Leng review came in, and I think, that's a whole another topic, and you could spend a whole load of time talking about it. I really, really don't think Gillian Leng does a very good job of making us or portraying us as victims, because we are. And I think it was kind of, it did feel like it was within her remit to say, well, guys, like, you can't say this stuff about a whole group of professionals. Like, that's just not on. But she didn't.
She sold us down the river.
Didn't she? Yeah. Ambrose, just again, I'll probably cut this bit out, but would you like to come back and do a session on the Leng review?
I'd love to, yeah. Yeah.
Because again, we haven't spoken before, and that's one of the most fantastic things about this. So a lot of the people we've had on before, we know them. They're our mates. We're chatting away, all the time.
Sure, met them through UMAPs or whatever, haven't we? So.
But with you, that's why it's so exciting. I don't know what you think. I don't know what you know. So
I think I think
that'll be.
It'll be interesting. The reason I think it'll be interesting is that I think students, from conversations I've had, at the time of the Leng review being released and already qualified physician associates have quite different views, to be honest. I think we're all against it, but it's the level at which we're against it that I think varies a fair amount.
Do you feel the same about the associate assistant thing? Because I think people are against that to varying different degrees as well.
I think that's one of the main things. I think. I mean, it, like I said, it caught us at a point where morale was so low that I couldn't really care what you call me, as long as I can still do the job that I was trained to do. And the point is that the clause about undifferentiated patients is completely contraindicated to everything that I've dedicated my training to.
That was the thing that really kills us.
Yeah. I think we're probably going off topic here, but I see UMAP's point of view that they should take them for everything, but I suppose we kind of were expecting more of a compromise. I kind of anticipated that assistant was going to be, that was definitely something that was going to happen. So, yeah.
I think I get what you mean, and I've heard that from other PAs as well. And again, we are going off topic slightly, but I just don't think they can be trusted. And I mean they, as in, I'm kind of going to say the entire doctor community here.
Yeah.
because it will bleed into it, that I think there will be those extreme voices that are like, go and make the tea, you're the assistant, do my admin. I mean, I've even had one of the doctors at work say, not to go and make the tea, but you're literally here to shoulder the administrative burden for the doctors. I'm
Oh
not,
my god,
no
yeah,
way.
it's so bad.
Yeah,
No,
I don't think
yeah,
I can be trusted with assistant.
I totally see that, and I think that's completely valid. I think, like I said, for us, it's like we're gonna have to compromise here, and
Totally. Yeah. And Ambrose, and I get that as well. Like, if I'm sure I said this in the other podcast, like, it's absolutely fine me sitting here in a job that is not yet threatened,
yeah,
saying,
that's
don't you
true.
dare call me an assistant.
Yeah.
But if I've just, you've spent all the money I have, put in all the effort I have, and you don't have a job, then I'd be like, call me an assistant and give me a job.
Yeah,
As long as I get a job, I don't care what you call me.
Yeah.
That is. I mean, that is kind of we're all like really struggling. I mean, I don't think, not a single one of us is currently practicing as a PA. So
That's the scandal,
that's so
isn't it?
sad. Yeah.
What do you think has been the most scandalous part of all of this, if there is one?
yeah, I mean, I think the scandal is that, I mean, I really don't like this. Oh, you were sold a pup situation, because
Yes.
I don't think we were. It clearly works in other healthcare systems abroad. Like, it's not like we were. I mean, I even saw someone saying, "Well, it's the PA's fault for thinking that this could work." It's like, what? I think the real scandal is that we have experienced quite how a emboldened doctor voice has so much influence. I mean, if the doctor community, and we'll say, let's say the BMA to be more specific, turned around and said, actually, we don't want aspirin, is unsafe. We say aspirin as a whole is unsafe. People will believe it, and you don't need any evidence. And that's the really scary part, is that that's exactly what feels like has happened to PAs. We've been told that we're unsafe without any evidence, and people have believed it.
Yeah, and that is pretty much in the Lang review itself, isn't it? We have to listen to the concern of the doctors because they're doctors. The fact that concern is completely tied up with their pay restoration campaign and the fact they feel threatened and all of that kind of stuff is neither here nor there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, without getting too much into the Lang review, it was disheartening as a student to feel that. I mean, my biomedical science background was quite research centric, I'd say. To hear that Gillian Lang was aiming to be, going off the most robust data and blah, 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 and then the opening line is like, there isn't really any data that we can go off, but we're still going to make recommendations anyway.
I don't want to.
I hear that, Ambrose.
Yeah,
my background is actually research as well, so the whole thing was just a shambles.
Yeah,
it was crazy. Sorry, Amanda, go on.
No, just the and we're not going to defer to the wisdom of future research, right? There's no data, and we don't want to create any data.
I know, and it's like, and we can't use double-blind control trials, and it's like, well, okay, but, and I struggle with this as well about the kind of data that they, the absence of data doesn't give any kind of conclusion. But when you're talking about a workforce, it sort of does, because if you're going off incident reports, the absence of incident reports says quite a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take the data for what it is, and I feel like it was. I mean, there's clearly bias in it, and I think that, again, it's a different topic, but that will potentially come out in the wash. I'm hoping so, anyway.
I agree with you. I really hope it does as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. I have every faith that it will.
So, last question, Ambrose, if you wouldn't mind. So your LinkedIn says GMC registered, PAR. So you've done the nationals.
Yeah.
And you have registered with the GMC. You could not be more employable as a PA right now, could you?
That's right, yeah.
So if you had known then what you know now, would you still have gone ahead and done the course?
Yeah, that's a really tough question, because I think I'm such an advocate for PAs, but I mean the title of this episode is the cost, and could I weigh up the cost? If I was weighing it up, knowing what I know, I just would it all be worth it? I really don't know. I mean, I love that I'm a PA, and I can't go back, so I wouldn't change it. But if I could go back, yeah, maybe I would. Maybe I'd take a different path. I don't know. I really don't know. And it would. I mean, it absolutely pains me to think that that part of my life has just been ruined so much. I mean, I love learning about medicine. I loved doing a lot of stuff on placement. When I was having a good time, I had the best time of my life. It was the best course I could have gone for. And yeah, the cost of that over, not being able to do what I would consider my dream job. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. It's a deliberately hard question, Ambrose, but I like the way you answered it, because it's a really tough thing to work through, isn't it? And I understand being a PA is a great job when it's great, but what it's taken from us as individuals, as professionals, and as a profession is so vast, because it's not just the emotional hurt, which is ongoing, but it is the time that you've invested, but also the future. And it's not even just your tuition fees, right? It's the fact that you stopped work for 2 whole years and supported yourself, after having done an undergrad. So yeah, it's everything you've lost. You've put a huge amount of work into this.
The tuition fees are almost irrelevant, to be honest. I wanted to be a PA. That's the cost, and would I ever recommend it to, if someone said to me, I want to become a PA, what do you think? I couldn't tell them that it was a good decision now. I mean, as an optimist, I think things might get better, but not now.
Hard to say. Well, that's great. Thank you so much, Ambrose. That was a good answer to a hard question.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That was very good.
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you so much for coming on, Ambrose.
Yeah, fantastic episode.
That's right.
And I really meant what I said back then. I would love to have you back on. I'm sure we would love to have you back on.
Absolutely, 100%.
I'd love to come back on. No, I'd love to come back on. So
fab.
Yeah, let me know.
Then we'd love to have you. Thank you so much, Ambrose.
Cool. Cheers, guys.